YouTube frogs, Cyno, and his test buddy Xlice. Weapon comparisons. Welcome back to another video. We got a nice roster of decently viable polearm weapon choices that we'll be comparing as closely as possible to help you guys determine the best weapon for your Cyno. For the new polearms released 3.1, Scarlet Sands will be included as an R180 copy, but the Missive Wind Spear will not, as I currently am unable to get it. Let's dive right into it. These are the current 3-star to 5-star polearms that I have available at R180 to showcase for this video. White Tassel at R580, Deathmatch at R180, Blackcliff at R180, and then the 5-star weapons: Scarlet Sands, Jade Spear, Calamity Queller, Staff of Homa, Vortex Vanquisher, and Scoured Spine. Weapons that I am unable to compare include most of the newer 4-stars that are split attack elemental mastery options. These include Ketane Cross Spear, the Moon Piercer, and Missive Wind Spear. Those of you who are hopeful for those weapons, I apologize for not having them at the ready. That being said, I do expect those 3 elemental mastery based weapons to all be within 5% of White Tassel and Deathmatch, of which you'll soon see are how strong. Missive Wind Spear is an event-free unconditional DPS stat stick for him, Moon Piercer is a craftable DPS stat stick, and Ketane is more energy focused. These weapons will all be very closely maintained in terms of stats. The only varying aspect is crit rate and crit damage due to their inherent secondary stats. The comparisons are absolute bare minimum controlled damage output. So what that means is no reactions. If you do include reactions like Aggravate, the damage will scale identically for all weapons assuming the same elemental mastery. Second, identical rotations. We're going to be using the standard no Thundering Fury rotation. Third, Xlice Shield. This involves easier testing and is a static -20% resistance across all weapons. Lastly, crit rate food. This is for strict visual clarity on the crit damage, and the comparison will reflect the base crit rate, which I'll explain. For each weapon, you'll be seeing total damage from a standard non-Thundering Fury rotation, which is activating the burst into an E into an N5 E combo 4 times. On top of that, we'll include a damage snapshot from the highest enhanced Ascension 1 passive Mortuary Rite. Alright, 3-star weapons. White Tassel at R580. This is an absolutely impressive normal attack steroid for Cyno. The crit rate allows for an easy build path, the base attack is a non-issue due to his elemental mastery scaling, it's the best budget choice with a 48% normal attack damage increase, as you'll soon see based on the damage. Deathmatch at R180. This is the BP locked universal crit rate DPS stat stick. It has 12% more crit rate than the White Tassel, so even though the damage snapshot is lower, Deathmatch is 12% more consistent, making it a better option. This shouldn't be a question given we're comparing a Battle Pass 4-star to a 3-star. Notice the difference in elemental skill damage versus total damage due to passive differences. Blackcliff at R180 with 0 stacks on the passive. So by default, this is at a loss due to 0 passive stacks on the weapon. With 2 stacks, it becomes comparable to White Tassel and Deathmatch, which is situational depending on the number of opponents. I prefer the previous 2 weapons. Scoured Spine at R180. This is the lowest DPS showcase due to its energy recharge secondary stat, even if it is a 5-star weapon. Depending on the use case, this energy recharge secondary stat could allow a lot higher burst uptime, justifying the lower DPS output. In my opinion, use at your own discretion. The passive is completely useful for him. Vortex Vanquisher at R180. I would only use this weapon with Xlice. At maximum stacks, it provides a great balance between total attack, elemental mastery, and crit rate crit damage, allowing for the highest damage snapshot thus far. Staff of Homa at R180. This is a great stat stick if you have one lying around. Crit damage and attack, and a slight HP boost for survivability. You guys all know this weapon. Calamity at R180. This is Shenhe's signature weapon, and it's a rock-solid choice even without its doubled passive. The passive is easily maintained with a massive spam of Cyno's elemental skill, and due to its extremely high base attack, which is the highest among all weapons, attack percent timepiece is interchangeable with the elemental mastery timepiece. Jade Spear at R180. This is Xiao's signature weapon, and it's a perfect use case. It's very quickly at max stacks, providing a great mixture of crit rate, attack percent, and elemental damage bonus. Finally, Scarlet Sands at R180. This is Cyno's signature, equalizing the damage snapshot to Jade Spear at maximum stacks. However, don't be deceived. Scarlet Sands has a massive 20% crit rate lead over the Jade Spear, making it massively more consistent and overall about 15% better than the Jade Spear. And that should be 9 of the most common polearms showcased for Cyno's DPS. In general, I was most impressed with White Tassel's budget friendliness, making it closely comparable to the Deathmatch. I would view the Elemental Mastery craftable weapons, Ketane, Moon Piercer, and Missive Wind Spear to also be in this 230 to 240,000 damage snapshot area, higher value in aggravate team comps due to their boosted Elemental Mastery. These craftable weapons will be harder to build crit rate crit damage around though, due to the lack of secondary stat that White Tassel and Deathmatch have. For the 5-star weapons, it generally went how I expected, with Vortex Vanquisher being a decently solid option if you run Zhongli. It'll very quickly get max stacks that will have double value during most of his bursts with Zhongli's shield up. Scarlet Sands looks to have the same damage snapshot as Jade Spear, but like I mentioned, this doesn't cleanly factor Scarlet's 20% crit rate boost. With the damage normalized for average DPS accounting for crit rate, Scarlet will prove to be at least 12% to 15% stronger than the Jade Spear. Thus, my general recommendations end up as Scarlet Sands number 1, and then Jade Spear, and then Calamity Queller, and then Vortex with Zhongli combo, and then Staff and Poma, and then Deathmatch, and then Wind Spear and Moon Piercer, which are the craftables, and then White Tassel. So basically, if you have a 5-star polearm, you should probably use it on him. And that's it. Hope this video helped you out. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and as always, we'll see you next time. Take care.